Most people believe they lack discipline, but the truth is much more uncomfortable. They are simply losing the first battle of the day. It happens in silence, no audience, no applause, just a moment between you and your own mind. The alarm rings, your eyes open, and immediately the negotiation begins. 5 more minutes, just today. I'll start tomorrow. That voice feels harmless, but it quietly decides the direction of your life. Welcome to Master Your Mind. Here we explore Stoic philosophy, discipline, and psychological mastery to help you build a mind that leads your life instead of reacting to it. Today we are going to talk about something deceptively simple, yet incredibly powerful, the discipline of the morning. Because the first minutes after you wake up are not just part of your routine, they are the first decision that shapes who you become that day. Most people wake up already losing. The alarm rings, they rush out of bed late, coffee is cold, the day starts in chaos. They run after responsibilities, reacting to problems, trying to catch up with time that already escaped them. And slowly, almost invisibly, a dangerous belief begins to grow. The belief that life is controlling them, instead of the other way around. But waking up late is rarely about time. It is about posture toward existence. Your brain was designed to conserve energy, to avoid discomfort, to choose the easiest path available. Thousands of years ago, this instinct kept our ancestors alive. Energy was precious, effort was dangerous, survival required caution. But in the modern world, that same instinct becomes a trap. The mind constantly pushes you toward comfort, toward delay, toward the illusion that tomorrow will be a better moment to begin. Discipline begins the moment you stop believing that illusion. The first lesson is simple but powerful. Your morning is either your first victory or your first defeat. Imagine your life as a long campaign, not against the world, but against the weaker version of yourself that constantly negotiates with comfort. Every single day begins with a small battlefield, your alarm clock, and when it rings, 2 forces appear. One voice says stay in bed, rest, delay the discomfort. The other voice says rise, move, begin. When you get up immediately, something important happens inside your mind. You prove to yourself that your decisions are stronger than your impulses. That small action sends a powerful psychological signal. I am someone who executes. Most people underestimate the importance of that signal. But the mind builds identity through evidence. Every action you repeat becomes proof of who you are. If you repeatedly delay action, your brain learns that comfort wins. But if you repeatedly act despite resistance, your brain begins to construct a different identity, someone who leads instead of negotiates. This is why great thinkers throughout history treated the morning with almost sacred importance. Marcus Aurelius wrote his reflections at dawn, not to inspire the world, but to prepare himself for the responsibilities of the day. He understood something many people ignore today. The morning is not just the beginning of a schedule, it is the beginning of your mindset. And there is another powerful advantage hidden in those early hours: silence. Before the messages arrive, before the noise of the world enters your mind, before social expectations begin pulling your attention in every direction, there is a rare moment where it is just you and your thoughts. In that silence, something powerful becomes possible. You can organize your mind before the world tries to organize it for you. Most people spend their entire day reacting. Notifications, problems, requests, opinions. They live in constant response mode. But when you wake up early, you reclaim control of the psychological battlefield. Carl Jung believed the human mind requires periods of intentional introversion to reorganize itself. Without those moments, the mind becomes fragmented, constantly reacting, but rarely reflecting. The early morning provides exactly that environment, a moment where you can think clearly about your direction, your priorities, the kind of person you are becoming. And this is where the real transformation begins, because the discipline of waking up early is not about productivity hacks, it is about identity construction. Every morning, you either reinforce the habit of avoidance or the habit of leadership over your own life, and that choice is made in a very simple moment, when the alarm rings, and you decide who gets control. But there is another reason the morning holds so much power over your life: energy. Your body is not designed to jump instantly from sleep into chaos. It needs activation, preparation, alignment. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, Your brain is in a delicate transition between restoration and performance. The first actions you take during that window determine how your nervous system will function for the rest of the day. When you wake up slowly, hydrate your body, move your muscles, and breathe deeply, you activate the biological systems responsible for focus and alertness. But when you wake up late, grab your phone, and rush into stress, your nervous system immediately enters a reactive state. Instead of leading the day, you begin surviving it. This is why the morning is not just about discipline. It is about strategy. The way you start your day determines whether you will operate from clarity or from chaos. And something even more powerful begins to happen when this habit repeats itself over time. Discipline starts to spread. One disciplined action creates psychological momentum for another. When you prove to yourself that you can overcome resistance in the morning, it becomes easier to overcome resistance later in the day. It becomes easier to train your body, easier to focus on meaningful work, easier to ignore distractions that once controlled your attention. This is because discipline is not a single decision. It is a pattern, and patterns shape identity. The man who consistently wakes up early begins to see himself differently. Not because waking up early is magical, but because he has demonstrated something important to himself. He can keep promises to his own mind, and when you trust your own word, confidence grows naturally. Not the loud confidence that seeks validation, but the quiet confidence that comes from self-respect. There is also another hidden advantage in those early hours. Time expands. Most people believe they lack time, but the truth is that they lack intentional hours. If you wake up 2 hours earlier every day, that creates more than 700 additional hours every year. 700 hours to learn new skills, strengthen your body, read ideas that sharpen your thinking, or build something meaningful. That is nearly an entire extra month of conscious life every single year. But the true value of those hours is not quantity, it is quality. Early hours carry a different psychological atmosphere. Your mind is clear, your attention is fresh, your willpower is stronger. One focused hour in the early morning can often produce more progress than 3 distracted hours later in the day. That is why many of history's most productive thinkers guarded their mornings with fierce discipline. They understood that whoever controls the early hours controls the trajectory of the entire day. But there is one truth that must be understood clearly. Waking up early does not begin in the morning. It begins the night before. If you go to sleep late, your morning will collapse before it even begins. Discipline in the morning is built on discipline at night. This means protecting your sleep, reducing artificial light before bed, disconnecting from screens that keep the brain overstimulated, creating a calm transition between the activity of the day and the recovery of the night. The Stoics believed that every new beginning is created by the conscious ending of the previous day. In other words, the way you close your day determines the strength of the next one. But even with the right strategy, resistance will appear. Your mind will try to negotiate. It will whisper that today is not the right day to begin, that tomorrow will be easier, that you deserve more comfort. That voice is ancient. It exists in every human mind. But discipline begins the moment you stop negotiating with it. When the alarm rings, you move. Not because you feel motivated, not because you feel inspired, but because you decided the night before who would be in control. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. The resistance becomes weaker. The action becomes automatic. And eventually, the person who once struggled to get out of bed becomes someone who naturally wakes up with purpose. Not because discipline became easier, but because identity changed. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to build discipline. You become someone who simply lives it. And when that transformation happens, the rest of life begins to reorganize itself around that new identity. Your focus sharpens, your energy stabilizes, your decisions become clearer, and slowly, almost invisibly, you stop feeling like a passenger in your own life. You begin to feel like its architect. Because the real purpose of discipline is not control over time, it is control over yourself. And once you gain control over yourself, the direction of your life begins to change with it. If you are serious about developing this level of discipline, about transforming philosophy into practical mental training that strengthens your focus, emotional control, and personal power, then take the next step. The Master Your Mind program was created to help you build that internal architecture step by step. You will find the link in the description. Begin building the mind that leads your life instead of reacting to it. And if this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and stay committed to the path of self-mastery. I will see you in the next video.